If you look at the unemployment benefits, it extends roughly through mid-March for different types of unemployment benefits. That's a help. The eviction moratorium lasts through January 31st. And the $600 payment, well, that could come within days or several weeks. Depends upon if you get direct deposit and how quickly the Treasury get those checks out. So for unemployed Americans, that money will probably go out the door real fast. For Americans who are working, that might be something that could add to their savings. And
first of all, this is what I mean. The American Rescue Plan Act really was the most recent crisis relief bill that passed in Washington, D.C. There are many parts to this bill, but the parents, everybody, especially benefited from an expansion of the child tax credit. The extra funds provided by the child tax credit were available only in 2021. As parents couldn't access the stimulus money in 2022, there's a big chance that lawmakers could take action again in 2023 to make more child tax credit funds available to families, even with people without stimulus. Even with people without families, they should be getting the stimulus money as well. What I'm saying though is that the extra funds, everybody, are not available from 2022. The American Rescue Plan already provided $1,400 stimulus checks, but we all know that it just wasn't enough. The credit provided parents of children under 6 with $3,600 per child tax credits. This money was made fully refundable. This money was made to the people. This money was given to the people, and this money belongs to the people. So, parents with older children as well were also entitled to $3,000 per child. However, if you didn't have enough taxes to claim the credit, you didn't even get the money. The expanded child tax credit was also made useful to families because, well, it was paid out monthly beginning in June, rather than just being available after filing taxes. Families didn't even have to wait until tax filing season to get the money, or see their money disappear toward their tax bills if they owed one. Instead, they received a payment to the bank account each month from June to December. But the credit was instrumental in reducing child poverty rates, and it gave parents some much needed breathing room. Then it disappeared. It went away. Democrats needed continuing this credit a priority last year, but Joe Biden was unable to get it done. He was unable to get the stimulus payments sent out when the people needed it most. Because now the Biden administration has released details this week on its plan to overhaul the current income-driven repayment plan, known as the Revised Pay-as-You-Earn Plan. This plan is going to give people stimulus checks. But now, if this bill is approved, well, Nebraska will join states like New York, Massachusetts, Maryland, Colorado, New Mexico, and even Maine in having a child tax credit, everybody. And this proposal would allow a $1,000 child per credit for families with incomes of up to $75,000. Families making more than that could receive lower credits based on their income. And now one official even said that there is no limitation to the number of children that are covered, and it kind of phases in and out with different income levels. For instance, families making more than that could receive a lower credit based on income, and one state official has even confirmed that there is no limitation to the number of people that are covered, and it kind of phases in and out with different income levels. Conrad also said that the credit would put more money into the people of Nebraska, and it would give them the stimulus checks that pretty much everyone's been asking for. But though many lawmakers across the country have agreed to help the low income financially by expanding this credit, by giving people what they need, by giving people what's needed from the American government. And what's needed from the government is stimulus checks. For instance, the New York governor has already announced a plan to make government work better for the New Yorkers by transforming the way that people access services and benefits. In state agencies, the state will implement significant technological enhancements to reduce the hurdles and improve the child care assistance, and everyone around the United States should begin that stimulus payment. So it's good to see that Joe Biden's doing what he needs to do.
Will be replaced quickly. To apply for assistance from FEMA, you can go online to disasterassistance.gov. Disasterassistance.gov. You can also sign up in person for disaster recovery centers in the coming days. There are going to be at least 7 centers opened across this state, and FEMA is going to deploy disaster survivor assistance teams to communities that need them the most. We can go to the FEMA website to find that location. And look, as I've said on other disasters, the key is not just building back, it's building back stronger. Just because since I became president, we've spent $9 billion in disaster assistance to California for the extreme weather events they've had to go through. $9 billion, and these weeks have shown the compounding effect of the disasters. For example, places that were ravaged by past wildfires are now at a higher risk of landslides. Extreme weather caused by climate change means stronger and more frequent storms, more intense droughts, longer wildfire seasons, all of which threaten communities across California. So we have to invest in stronger infrastructure to lessen the impacts of these disasters because they become cumulative in a sense. We've already allocated funding from the infrastructure law that I signed a year ago, and more than $16 billion for more than 480 projects across this state. We're making the California power grid more resilient.
In response to rising mortgage rates, the mix of job gains also reflects shifts in consumer behavior. For much of the past 2 years, Americans spent on homes and furnishings and other goods, boosting employment at warehouses and transportation companies. Many Democrats, everybody, are upset at Republicans for not agreeing to plan for President Biden's new spending plan. Now, there is actually still billions of dollars in relief right now. The Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell is facing widespread criticism for his reassertion that the so-called labor shortage in the United States is the result of stimulus checks. During a recent event, McConnell said that direct aid, stimulus money, was sent to American taxpayers over the past 2 years, and that has been holding people back from working. Now, Elizabeth Warren condemned McConnell's statement on Twitter. Mitch McConnell is blaming Americans for not wanting to work, she said. It's absurdly out of touch, and more workers have jobs now than pre-crisis. And investing in affordable childcare will help parents return to work, but Republicans refuse to support actual solutions. That came from Elizabeth Warren. Now, though the stimulus checks and expanded child tax credit did help decrease financial hardship and poverty immediately after they were sent out, the effects of the aid only lasted so long. As of last month, 39% of Americans said that it's difficult to afford regular expenses like bills or rent. And for years now, McConnell and other Republicans have been moaning that the stimulus payments suppress employment. But analysis of the financial program that Congress implemented showed that these claims are not true. In fact, the extra financial aid may have helped people get back into the job market earlier than they would have expected, as the money helped people afford to pay for childcare, expensive measures like that make it easier to get jobs. Now, last year, economists found that employment recovery slowed down in states that ended the crisis era, expanded unemployment insurance checks, in comparison to states that continue giving the checks out. I know many of you are wondering if you're currently owed any stimulus money from the past round of stimulus. Well, Americans might not even be aware that they are still due another stimulus check. Americans who qualify for the stimulus payments get the maximum amount only if their income is $75,000 or below. This only applies for couples who earn $150,000 or below when combined. If you earn more than that, the $1,400 check will begin to decrease, and the income for families is capped out at $80,000 for singles and $160,000 for couples.